Jeb Bush, Donald Trump. Their battle, their war of words now, pretty hot and pretty long running, is the center of the action on the Republican side. Who's winning that fight right now?
Well, and I've been publicly supportive of the Trump candidacy, and there are three ways, though, to deal with him. One was to dismiss him or attack him, which is what the establishment did, which was wrong, because that then in turn dismisses the anger and the anxiety that's real in America. The second is to pander to him, which some of the candidates are doing, which is also wrong, because the Americans, those angry, anxious Americans, don't want Trump. They want the spunk. But the spunk is necessary but insufficient. The third way, which is what Bush did yesterday and increasingly, is to contrast his first principles, his policies, and his real record of reform in Florida, because when the rubber hits the road, that spunk has to turn into substance. And contrary, we're old, or we've been around for a while, let's say that. People don't know Jeb Bush's record. He was one of the reform governors in the 90s. I remember when Jeb Bush was the extremist, and he put in place conservative policies. He cut taxes every year. He cut the government. He ended up in the state with a $8 billion surplus. He led the nation in job growth. He led the nation in small business growth. Right. People don't know that. They don't remember that, but they do know remember the last 7-8 years. Jeb's unemployment was 1/3 of what Obama's is, and his growth was 3 times what Obama's is. So that's the compare and the contrast. Now, Trump doesn't know Jeb either. He called him low energy, and he's a stiff. You all know that while Jeb is neither theatrical or theoretical, he is intense. He's mercilessly intense. He was the only one of the Bushes, with the exception of Mrs. Bush maybe, that scared me. He's a taskmaster, and he's not low energy, and I think it was a strategic mistake for Trump to poke him the way he did. And I think this match goes to Jeb, and it fits with his long haul strategy.
Right. And, okay, so we got a final ruling there. You think Jeb's winning the fight right now. Let me ask you, you said something along the way there about some candidates pandering to Trump. Who do you think's pandering to Trump not to their benefit?
Well, it is what Trump put on the table. What Trump took off the table is the presumption of the premise that y'all, the media and the chattering classes and us political junkies should set the agenda, or that we have to be politically correct. So those who are saying, yeah, I'm with Trump and I support his immigration, or I'm not going to name names, they know who they are. Those candidates who tapped into and understand that there's real anxiety and fear and frustration and anger in the country, not just at this Obama record, but at Republicans who have won 2 sweeping midterms. Right. We've ushered in majorities across the country, and nothing has changed. That's real. But Jeb is not part of that. He was not ever part of the D.C. problem. Right. He was a reform governor. People don't know that. They need to get that out. And these other governors and other candidates who also were not part of the problem, then everybody has to put their policies on the table. The benefit to Jeb is he has a real record.
Mary, I want Al Hunt to jump in here. Al, go right ahead.
Hello, Mr. Hunt.
Mary, you have said that. How are you, Ms. Matalin? Good to talk to you from New Orleans.
Well, we hope are you coming down for Katrina 10? Just to switch.
Well, I would love to come down any time to be entertained by Carville and Matalin, as you know. You have said that Trump actually could be good for the Republican Party. But, gosh, he calls Jeb Bush dumb. He says the Bush-Cheney Iraq War was a catastrophe. He dismisses the Rick Perry and Lindsey Graham and others as lightweights. Can that possibly be good for the Republican Party?
Well, he's not speaking for all Americans. I think that wears out pretty fast. And I'll say again, I like all Americans like his spunk. I like that he gets more mad at the Republican Party. We who have supported it for decades and decades. But this is a very stellar field. People want the fight. They want the substance. So we haven't even gotten our jerseys dirty yet. You know, it's like we're basically in spring training. The real game, the game is on the field after Labor Day, and then we get into the long haul. So I think whatever he calls the other candidates is belied by their presentations and their performance.
Well, hopefully you'll have a better record than the New Orleans Saints. But let me ask you this: what would you advise if one of if one of those super PACs came to you, the Bush super PAC or the Kasich super PAC, and said, "We're going to take out negative ads on the Donald"? Good idea or bad idea?
That's a ridiculous idea because, as I said, the first thing you could do, the first reaction to him that the establishment took, which was wrong, was to dismiss him or to attack him. He does represent some real anger in the party and in the country, and they like the swing and the swagger. What needs to be attacked are his policy prescriptions and his record, because what conservatives want, what the country wants, of all parties, is some conservative governance, which has proved itself to be successful in the states where governors have control, and we have unified control of the chambers. It proved successful in Jeb's tenure, and it's proved counterproductive in Obama's tenure. So the Trump record and his policy prescriptions so far, he's swung. He hasn't missed. He's on the field, but he doesn't have any policy prescriptions that are detailed. And I get it, people don't want the details, they don't want to get in the weeds, but he doesn't have anything that has proved to work anywhere except on his own show stage.
Mary, I'm taking it back from Al right now, and I want to play another piece of sound for you. Again, a voice you're going to find familiar. Let's play that sound.
This goes on and on. It's never going to stop. And, you know, these people, we don't like Hillary. Why is it Paul Begay and Jim Cavell out there defending her? Why can't we just attack her like we want to? And I understand that. I've been dealing with this for 23 years now. It's not going to amount to a hill of beans, just like all of the other stuff that I've been through. It doesn't amount to a hill of beans. It's just a bunch of people, you know, talking to each other, spinning themselves up over a pile of garbage.
Mary, your fabulous husband there defending Hillary Clinton. What do you think about that?
Well, I feel his pain. He's been doing it for 23 years, and America's been putting up with it for 23 years. I don't see how that's a positive message. It kind of reminds us that mendacity is her middle name. I don't think the email thing is important to anyone but junkies, but her mendacity is, and her policies are, and she's even more left, or running more left than Obama is, if that's possible. And she just said the other day that her answer to what ails us is not to change hearts and minds, but to change systems and to redistribute wealth. Well, of course we're going to swing at that, because that's not what made the country grow, and that's what's made it stuck where it is. So if James has been dealing with this for 23 years, it's far worse for those of us who have been having to deal with it for 23 years.